Good evening, everyone. Hey, define yourself first. It is time for the Confident Autistic live stream. Yes, the first one of spring. Spring sprung this morning at 4:01 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Welcome to spring, and ironically, where I live, spring, right? I woke up to 31 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It was like, oh, winter is still here. I want my spring. I do. Right now it's about in the 50s here, Fahrenheit. And looking forward to spring. I want a barbecue. What do you like about spring? What are you looking forward to in spring? Share that in the comments, and we'll get this podcast on the road. For the Pacific Coast, USA, I used to live in California. I lived in Northern California. Are you in California? Love to know. Love to know if you're in California. Love that. I moved out of California. It got too expensive. Okay, it did. Loved the state. Loved the public transportation where I'm at. Where I was at. Where I live now, there is virtually no public transportation. But that's my problem. But I did love that when I lived in California and enjoyed it. I had a great time there. And the best thing that came out of California for me was my wife. And she's probably watching right now, and she's probably going, oh, he's so sweet. So, yeah, spring is here. We got a lot of fun stuff to do tonight. We're going to dive into a couple of the videos I did this week and discuss them and answer questions. And we'll also have open Q&A tonight for anything autistic related. For adults, excuse me, it's been a rough week. I'm going to bring you an update on my life here in a moment, as well as an opportunity where you can get involved in this channel besides liking the video, which, if you haven't already, when you feel I've earned that like, click the like button on this video. I really appreciate you doing that. And if you like what I'm putting out there, we have 234 videos up right now, I believe. If you like what's out on my channel, please hit the subscribe button. That helps us, because you're part of this, help us grow this channel so we can have more people, or we can reach more people and help them live confidently autistic, because that's what it's all about. We're on this planet to help one another. So please help grow the channel by doing that. I see some chats came in, so let me take a quick look at that. I used to live near San Diego. I lived in Northern California, like I mentioned, close to Sacramento. And we have a viewer from Kentucky. I've been to Kentucky. Fort Knox is in Kentucky, right? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Yeah, I went there on a Boy Scout trip. We went to Fort Knox. And ironically, they wouldn't let me take home any gold samples. I was a Boy Scout. I was a good guy. I deserve some samples. So, yeah, I went there as a kid. It was an interesting trip. Went there. Here's a vault. You can't go in there. Now go home. No, they were nicer than that. But it was an interesting trip, and I still remember that pretty fondly from my childhood. So I had a great time in Kentucky. So, as I said, I am the Confident Autistic, also known as Chris Mitchell. And let's talk about tonight's show. Tonight's topic is, I need to fix this graphic. Not right now, but I need to fix the graphic. Navigating late autism, discovering and building confidence as an autistic adult. You know, proofreading is a good thing. Anyway, it's been a rough week. We're going to be getting into those topics tonight. But before we get into any of that, I want to do this. I want to share with you what's been going on in my world, because maybe you care, maybe you don't, but it's a little bit, it's a way we can connect. You get to know me better. I like to get to know you better. And great way to build a better understanding of who we are. So, as I mentioned, in the last few weeks has been hectic for me. I've been taking care of a family member who has become non-ambulatory for the time being, which means they can't walk. They have severe arthritis, so I'm trying to take care of them, taking care of my wife, because, hey, that's why I'm here. I mean, I'm a carer, I'm a giver. And at the same time, our cars died. gone. So last week I spent the entire week hunting down and getting us a new car, and I'm exhausted. I don't have a routine. I don't know about you, but routines are very important to me, and I need my routine back. I can't wait till I can get it back up and running and get things running smoother, which will mean I will be putting more videos up here on this channel. So how's your week going? Share in the comments if you feel comfortable. What accomplishments, what successes have you had this week? This week, let's see, my successes. I haven't killed anybody. That's always a good thing. I haven't offended anybody that I'm aware of. Another good thing I've done. Let's see, what else has been a success for me this week? I'm trying to think. I should have thought of this earlier. I know what I did. Let me share this with you. This can be kind of fun. Let me do this. I have, let me get that over there. Excuse me. There we go. I recorded just literally less than an hour ago the very first episode of this new series I'm doing this spring called One Autistic Adult's Story. And we are looking for guests for this. And what this is a little video series I'm doing for the month of April, which is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, where I talk to people who are autistic, whether they suspect they're autistic and they don't, suspect they're autistic, self-identify as autistic, or pursuing or have received a late diagnosis of autism. And we get to know them, find out what led them to where they're at in that journey, what challenges they face and how they overcome them or how they work around them, and why they made the decision to pursue a diagnosis or not to pursue a diagnosis, or where they are on making that decision. It's a really great series. I'm looking for guests for it. And in the video description, I did put a link to more details about this video series. And I'm going to put it here in chat right now that you can learn about it. And on this page that I just sent to you, when you read through it, you scroll down towards the bottom of the page, there is a link to book a day and a time to record your interview. There's no pre-screening on this pretty much. No pre-interview. You don't have to really apply. You just go and book a day and a time. And as long as you're somewhere in the autistic journey as an adult, not that you were diagnosed as a kid. We really are looking for adults who suspect they're autistic, self-identify as autistic, or pursuing or have received a late diagnosis of autism. You're welcome to be a guest on the podcast. And I just put into the chat the link where you can book a day and a time to record your interview. The video series is going to be done through Zoom, and it's fun. You're going to really enjoy doing that. So let's go ahead and talk about, and I hit the wrong button. Never mind that. Oh, I know why I'm doing this wrong. Here we go. Let's go into tonight's topic, navigating late autism discovery and building confidence as an autistic adult. So we did a couple of videos on this week. It's been a interesting week of videos, and let's dive into them. We did one on late diagnosis. Let me pull it up here on the screen so I know exactly what I'm talking about, because that always makes the quality of the conversation go better. So let me just pull this up here. You can't see this is behind the scenes, so don't worry. I'm just talking to my computer. It's no big deal. So let me go over here, get the title of this so we know what we're talking about here. And it is, let me do this. I'll do this. Get shareable link. Let me share the link with you on the video we're going to talk about first. Yeah, I'll put it here. I can see it. And this is the video entitled 6 Steps to Autism Pride. How to go from self-identity to self-confidence. It was a really great video. Let me put this into the chat here. Let me find my chat window. There we go. And I'm trying to remember a lot about this video. It's been a rough week for me, okay, people? It has. But it was really a great video, and it talked about how we can develop our confidence as autistic adults. We discussed many of the aspects of what we're going through, and that it's okay for us to struggle and to have feelings. And we should not judge our feelings, because all they are feelings. And that's That's the important part. That they're not positive, they're not negative, they're just feelings that we have, and we need to embrace those feelings and interact with the feelings so we know that they're authentic and they're okay to have. And we talked about how to develop our confidence as autistic adults, and having autism pride, because that's an important thing to have. Autism is not a negative thing, it's a positive thing. Okay, discovering whether you are suspecting you're autistic, self identifying, or pursuing or received a late diagnosis of autism is a life changing event. It truly is. And in this life changing event, we get to realize who we are. Like I talked about in the second video I did this week, the one that I pushed out today, that talked about the emotional roller coaster that we're on as we explore being autistic. Let me find it over here. I'm going to put a link to that video here into the chat. The it's a life-changing moment for us. Okay, I know it was for me. It is a realization, and it answers some questions of, wow, why did I feel this way? Why did I do this? Now things start making sense in your life. I know for myself, when I first started to suspect I was autistic, that things started to make sense to me. And I know I mentioned this in other videos, other live streams, but I don't assume everybody watches everything. I will like everyone to watch everything on my channel, but I know you have a life. So if you've heard this before, forgive me. But the important thing is that when you start to realize that you're on the spectrum, self-identify, get that diagnosis, your life changes. It's like a 180-degree turn in your life. Your world is now upside down. Everything that you knew is changing. You're realizing maybe I'm not a screw up. Because many of us think we're screw ups. We have failures. We've damaged. And let's be honest, I'll admit it. I've done this unbeknownst to myself because of my autism. I have damaged and destroyed friendships and relationships. And that still hurts me today. But it is a part of who we are. And we realize we're not defective, that we're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. We now have a name for what is going on in our life, that we are on the spectrum. And that gives us understanding, that gives us validation. And those things are very important if we want to live confidently autistic. So, those are what we talked about in these videos this week. We can go a little bit deeper into this. If you have any questions about the videos, I would love to try to answer those to the best of my ability. Now, I do read, by the way, I do read every single comment that is posted on a video. And I don't have it right in front of me, and I don't really want to try to find it right now because I got too many things going on in front of me. But basically, in today's video, the video I did about the emotional roller coaster, which we talk about the ups and downs that we go through, and the five ups and downs we go through, which include grief, relief, anger, and empowerment, and realization. The initial shock that we get when we begin the journey. I talked about labels, and I will be doing a video on labels next week. And it's no secret, I don't like labels. Okay. And the one person who posted on, I'm not going to call them out. You can go and look at the video comments anyway. And I'm not trying to call them out. That said, I don't understand why people have trouble with labels. And it's a valid point, because in the video, I really did not explain my issue I have with labels. And I'm going to explain it now and kind of address that, because this caught my eye today, and I wanted to bring it up tonight and address it openly. So this is where I am on labels. Okay. Yes, autism, you could say, is a label. Okay. But I don't like using the word label. Okay. Now, let me explain a little background about me. I live here in Missouri. That's where I'm from. Well, I'm originally from St. Louis. Originally, I'm from my mom's womb, but I was born and raised in St. Louis, moved to California, now back here in Missouri. And in our home with my wife and I, we share a house with my mom, who's 86, and I love my mom. Now, my mom is a big political, I won't say political junkie, but she likes watching 24-hour news channels. Okay. And we try very hard to stay away from politics on the channel. But when you overhear this stuff on these news channels, one in particular, you will hear people using the word liberals and conservatives and Democrats and Republicans, and they are labeling people. These people may not identify themselves as being conservative or liberal or whatever, but others use those labels. And this is where I have my problem with it, because I see it on these news channels and hear it all the time. There are people who use labels to tear other people down, just to, in a sense, make themselves appear stronger or better. We have a problem with that in our country. I have no problem with saying and claiming the label that I am an autistic adult. I have no problem you do that, okay? None at all. And that's not what I meant when I said that 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 I'm going to be doing a video on labels and there's a problem with labels and all. It's not a problem if you choose to identify yourself in a label, but we are more than a label. I'm an autistic adult, okay? Fine, but there's more to me than that. As you can see, I can be very energetic. There are times that I can be very shy. There are very times that I get overwhelmed and withdrawn. And there are sometimes I can be very caring and sensitive. Other times I can be a real jerk. But that is my problem I have with labels. It's not that I have a problem with anyone identifying with a label on their own. My problem is when people use labels not to identify themselves, but to tear down other people. And unfortunately, we have in our world, some people will tell you, oh, you're autistic, you're not as good as me. They may not say it in those words, but they say autism like it's a bad thing. And that becomes a harmful label. And that's what my problem is with labels. And I have a saying that I love using: labels belong on soup cans, they don't belong on me. And that's my problem with labels. It's not the fact that, autism is a label. It's a label I claim for myself. That's fine. But the problem I have is some people will use the term autism when they're not in the spectrum, and they use it in a derogatory way to tear other people down, just so they can feel superior. And let me tell you something, when you tear other people down to feel superior, you are showing your insecurity in who you are. So that's my problem with labels. I wanted to kind of get that out there and explain that a little bit. So I hope that does clear up the comment. Yes, the use of labels is. I'm trying to. I got a little hard here. Yes, the use of labels tear down is very difficult to navigate. Yes, it very much is. I mean, again, I don't want to get into politics, but I see it in the Christian faith. I'm a man of faith. If you are, great, and if you're not, no problem. This is the no judgment zone. My channel and what I do is a totally no judgment zone. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, who am I to say how you should live your life? That's what I really believe. But I see it in the Christian faith at times, that people will tear down those that are in the LGBTQIA plus community. And if you're in that community, hey, more power to you. No judgment here. But to the point that some of these people will tear, and I'm using this example, this can happen with others. It becomes like a form of bullying. And I've read stories of people, I mean, killing others or hurting themselves or suicide because labels were pushed on them to the point that they couldn't handle it. And that's my problem I have with labels. I know I kind of got in a little soapbox here, but I really wanted to address that comment because when I saw that come up on the video that I posted today, and I know it's from one of our super fans. He watched practically every one of my videos, always thumbs it up and all, and I love his support. I really do. I love everyone's support of the channel. I wanted to make sure I did not say anything to alienate anyone because that was not my point. My point is labels can be harmful. Now, if you identify with a label and you do it in a positive way, that's super. But if people start assigning labels to you that tear you down, That's not good. Don't let anyone label you. Remember, labels belong on soup cans, not on an individual, or not placed on an individual by another person. You can place a label on a soup can, a label on a box, whatever, but don't be placing labels on other people. Okay, unless you're doing a diagnosis, you're a doctor and all. But I mean, generally speaking, don't just say, "Oh, I'm." You, put this label on someone to say, "I'm better than you because I don't have that label." That's wrong. Anyway, I know I got on a little tantrum here. My apologies for that. So, I did want to address that. I want to make sure that was out there because that caught my eye, and I wanted to clear that up immediately, even before we do the video next week of labels that I will be doing on the on here on this YouTube channel. And so, one of the things that have been going through my mind, and this whole month series is Your Autistic Journey, where we talk about going from suspecting to suspecting to self-identifying to pursuing a late diagnosis and receiving a late diagnosis of autism. So that is, this is what this month is all about, and the theme for the month. So I really wanted to kind of address that and make the theme this month all about this because we're getting ready for April, which is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. So we're getting pumped up for that. We're getting excited around here. And I wanted to make this month all about that because it's a journey. It is a journey that we go through from suspecting to late diagnosis if we go that far. Some of us stop at self-identifying because for various reasons we don't go for that late diagnosis. I mean, I've talked about these reasons before and I'm going to bring them up again. They could be for that we are self-identifying or not wanting to go for that label, I should say. We stop at self-identifying because the cost of getting assessed is not covered by insurance. That's something I think needs to be changed. We may not go for that late diagnosis of autism because it's so time-consuming. It can take years to get assessed as an adult. That's something else I feel needs to be changed. Let me know if you agree on those points, by the way. And some of us don't do it because we're afraid. We're afraid because we have went through suspecting, we self-identify, and we're not doctors, okay? We're not self-diagnosing. There's a difference between self-identifying and self-diagnosing. Self-identifying is saying, I believe that I am. Self-diagnosing is saying, I've diagnosed myself with that. And I'm not a fan of self-diagnosing, but I am of self-identifying. And we get to the point that we're scared that if we go into this process, that we're going to be told we're not the spectrum after we have self-identified, we came out about it. In essence, we announced to the world, I'm autistic, and now what? You get this fear, and that's normal. Some of us may not pursue it because, frankly, we don't need to. You might not need to have that diagnosis because you're not going to school, and having the diagnosis, you don't really need, because if you have the diagnosis, it could help you get accommodation at school, which maybe you're not in school, or you don't really need those accommodations at work. And that's fine, no matter where you are in this journey. But the key point is, it is a journey, and it's a very difficult journey and challenging journey, full of ups and downs. You go through the shock of realizing, oh my gosh, I might be autistic. Or my gosh, I am autistic. I self-identify as autistic. And all. And you go through denial. I mean, I did not talk about that in the video, but you can go through denial. Because you hear the stereotypes that people with autism are not empathetic. And you think to yourself, well, I can't be autistic. I have empathy for other people. Well, what those stereotypes don't always tell you is there are some people on the spectrum who are hyper empathetic. My young nephew, who's on the spectrum, he is hyper empathetic and very concerned about how his great grandmother is doing as she battles some health issues. and all, and that you would say, well, he can't be because he's empathetic. Well, remember, everyone experiences autism differently. Then we go through this grief period. And that grief period is we're going through, what if? What if somebody knew I was autistic when I was younger? I know I went through this. Have you? Feel free to share that in the comments. I went through the what ifs. What if they knew when I was in school and was misbehaving and having outbursts and shutdowns and being defiant because I was getting overwhelmed? What if somebody knew I was on the spectrum? How would they have handled it differently? How would my life have turned out differently if I would have gotten the support that I needed as a kid? But nobody knew I was on the spectrum at that time. And the thing that helps me make peace with that is this. I realize that what we know today about autism, we did not know 50 plus years ago when I was a kid. We didn't. And I have to give people grace and understand they operated knowing only what they knew then, not what we know now. And I can't judge them by today's standards for something they did at a time that the standards were different. I mentioned in today's video an experience I had and really touched me, and I want to share it with you because it meant a lot to me, and maybe this could help you. Somebody who knows me as being autistic said to me, if they knew then, and I'm paraphrasing them a little bit here, but if they knew then, being doctors, teachers, special education programs, etc., knew then what they know today about autism, you would have A, been diagnosed with autism when you were a child, and B, you would have received the support that you needed so you could thrive and be easier for you to thrive. Not saying I've not, I have, but it's been a battle. But I could have gotten the support that I really needed when I was young. And knowing that, I had to find it within myself to forgive my parents, my teachers, my doctors, and all who did not know I was on the spectrum and did not offer the help that I needed. And let's be honest, the help that's out there today, the support that's out there for today for kids was not out there in the 1970s. So that helps me feel good about that. Now, before I continue on this a little bit, I'm going to check the comments here. Labels are neutral descriptions. People are rarely neutral. Just label me correctly. Oh, I like that thought. And you're right. Uh, Labels are just neutral. I talked about this in the video, and I'm going to get back to what I was talking about in a moment. So don't go anywhere. That I met a nurse. I'll be honest. I was a little gun shy about mentioning this in the video, but I'm confident in saying it here. I was in a psychiatric hospital for some mental health issues back in the late 1980s, and I had some trouble with some thoughts that I was having that were disturbing to me. And I had a nurse who explained to me about thoughts. Thoughts are neither good or bad. They're just thoughts. How you act upon them makes them good or bad. And I believe the same can be said about labels. Labels are not negative or positive. They're neutral, just like this commenter said here. But how we use them on ourselves or towards others makes them positive or negative. So you really brought up a good point, kind of tied together everything that I said today. So I appreciate that feedback. And we talked about, we go through that shock. Are we autistic? We go through the grief of wondering what if. And I mentioned in the video, and I'm going to mention it here, that my nephew, great nephew, he's 6. He's getting the support that he needs as an autistic child. And I'm very happy for him, but I got to be honest, I'm a little bit envious that he's getting the support he needed that I wish I had gotten when I was younger, that I needed, that nobody knew I needed. So I do forgive people for that. And we do go through relief, knowing that we are on the spectrum. Helps us feel relief. We're no longer feeling that we're broken or something's wrong with us or something needs to be fixed, because it doesn't. Now we have I'm going to say the word label for what's going on with us, for who we are. We have an understanding. It's not an excuse. Never use a label as an excuse but only as an explanation. You don't want to use your label that you're autistic as an excuse, because people hate that, and that's not why you have the label. It's an explanation. For myself, I cannot stand, I don't do small talk well at all. And the reason I don't, and I believe this, is because of my autism. I don't see the point of small talk, and any conversations make me very uncomfortable because I'm like, what is that person expecting me to say or how to respond? And there are times I get frustrated in conversation with my wife, not because I'm frustrated with her, but she'll say something to me and then I react and then she reacts towards it. And I get frustrated, like, how do you want me to react? Now, it's not just with my wife. Now, I'll say it to my wife, but the other people that I have conversations with and I get frustrated about, and I'm wondering, what do they expect me to say? People would say to me, small talking, people would say, well, it's warm outside today. Well, it's like 98 degrees. What am I supposed to say? And because the first thought that comes to my mind, because I'm a smart ass, is no kidding. Well, it actually has a few euphemisms in it, but I try to keep the channel clean. But no kidding. Yeah. No, I actually think it's kind of cool and breezy. It gets really warm again. It's 140 degrees outside. Then it starts getting warm to me. I want to smart off to them because I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's hot. Yeah. Why are you telling me something I already know? I don't get small talk. And the reason I don't, I believe, is because I have autism. And that's an explanation. That's not an excuse. I understand that I have trouble with small talk because I'm on the spectrum. And I understand that. And that's an explanation. And I try to find ways to overcome that challenge, but I'm not very successful at that. But I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm using my autism as an explanation. And there's a difference. There's a major difference. When you use a label, no matter what it is, as an explanation, people will respect you. When you start using it as an excuse, people may judge you negatively, whether they should or not. I'm not here to judge that. But they could start judging you negatively. And you could easily fall into a pity party for yourself. And don't invite me to your pity party because I never know what to bring as a gift. So don't do a pity party. But use your autism, whatever label you have, in a positive way as an explanation, never as an excuse. So we talked about the initial shock. We talked about the grief. We talked about relief. There's also anger. You may feel angry towards how people have treated you, how society has treated you, how friends and family members have treated you. And, doctors and all. And the anger is normal. Don't get down on yourself. Spend some time embracing that emotion. But that anger, don't let it be a weapon to tear you down and make you bitter. Let that be a power. Let that be fuel for you to embrace autism. Because that anger, you're angry about stuff, right? Well, take that anger and start changing things in your life. Start changing. Know that what your boundaries are and start setting those boundaries with others and with yourself. Start expecting to be treated the way that you should be treated. Obviously, here in America, we have the Americans with Disabilities Act, and we have expectations of reasonable accommodations. And we all deserve that, whether we're on the spectrum, have any other disability, whatever. We all should have reasonable accommodations and be treated equally and respectfully. And you deserve that too. And don't let anyone treat you in a negative way because you identify or you received a diagnosis of autism. It's authentic, it's part of you. You deserve to be treated well. And then we get into acceptance, and accepting it, knowing, hey, I'm autistic. I'm proud about it. I don't mind telling people I'm on the spectrum because I'm showing the world their stereotypes may not be true. Because each and every one of us experiences autism differently. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about at this first point. I'm open to any questions you have about the videos they did this week, anything about Adult Autism Confidence Building. And I know we're in a delay. So while I'm waiting for things to pop into the chat, let me figure out where I put my other screen. There we are. And let's go back over here. Bingo. And let me share this again and remind you that I am looking for guests for this special series we're doing only in the month of April called One Autistic Adult Story. These are short little videos, generally about 15 minutes, some maybe run a little bit longer. I did my very first interview tonight and before we did this live, and it was a great interview. And we're looking to connect with people who suspect they're autistic, who are adults, who suspect they're autistic, self-identify as autistic, or or are pursuing or received a late diagnosis of autism. And we want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories with others in our adult autism community. And the purpose of this is to help other people who are going through the journey feel they're not alone, and to help others not only become aware of autism and how it presents differently in each and every one of us, but help people accept that autism is not a limitation, it's not a negative thing, and that people with autism have special gifts and talents that can benefit everyone in our society. And that's what this series is all about. I encourage you to try to be a guest. Well, to be a guest, actually, it's not that hard to be a guest on the series. I'm going to post back in here in a moment. Let me grab it. The link that tells you more about this series. Let me get over to it. And on this article that I have on my website about this series, at the bottom, there's a link that you can click onto to book a day and a time to record your interview. There's no pre-screening or anything. Just book the day and a time. We'll get it recorded, and they will start going live in April. So I put the link to the article into the chat. I'm now going to put a link to book a day and a time to record your interview. And while that's going out, I'm going to check and see what came in. This makes me feel good. I love this comment. Thanks for the stream. Your videos are all very professional, and I like them a lot. Oh, that means more to me than if I won a Grammy Award for what I do, or an Emmy or an Oscar. I really appreciate the feedback. Yeah, that sounds a little sarcastic, but I really do mean it. I really do appreciate the positive comments and all. And it means a lot to me. My wife suggested to me, she watches a lot of YouTube videos. I create them, she watches videos. So it's a team effort here. That there's a lot of people who are doing videos right now on YouTube explaining why they started the channel. And she's saying a lot of people catching on to that and all. And she suggested that I do one. I think I've done one before, but I'm going to do it. I'll probably do another one soon, because I always listen to my wife, because I like to keep all my stuff. Anyway, why we started the channel. And I started the channel because of the fact that uh, I knew I was going through the stages, suspecting, self-identifying, and pursuing a diagnosis. And it was an interesting challenge, a journey for me. And I knew it would be for others who were in my shoes, my boat. You know, middle-aged. I'm almost 60. And and this can be even for somebody who's 40. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is a major change in your life. I wanted to document it. I wanted to chronicle, make, I don't know the word, journal it. Let's just go with journal. I wanted to create a chronicle of what I went through. And I wanted other people to know that they're going through the journey. They're not going through it alone. Yeah, there's other creators that do what I do or similar. There's groups and all, and those are all great. I encourage you to connect with as many as you can. But I wanted to share my journey, because each journey is different. And since I studied and earned a certification in confidence coaching, I wanted to blend the two, autism awareness and acceptance, into living confidently autistic. Because some people, when they find out they're on the spectrum, self-identify, whatever, they think, oh my gosh, my life is over. I am so screwed. And it's not true. I want to help you build that confidence, because when you go down the journey, your confidence can be shaken, okay? Because your world's been turned upside down. That's why I started the channel. That's why I do these videos. And mainly they've been a lot about autism so far. And I was hoping to be a little bit further along in the development of the channel, but as I mentioned earlier, there's been some health challenges here in my household that I've had to take care of, and I'm still taking care of, which I don't mind doing. I love these people that I'm living with, but we want to expand. We're going to have some new series coming up next month. This one autistic adult story will be launching. It's a 1 month series. I'll be launching a podcast called Live Confidently Autistic. That's going to be launching where we're going to have guests on there to talk about ways we can do and live more confidently as an autistic adult, some strategies that we can use, because I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So we're going to bring some experts on. We're going to be doing more book reviews. And in fact, I'm hoping to interview authors of books about autism and I would like to be launching an area where I highlight and do interviews with people about resources, whether it be apps or software or technology or a program or whether it be online or in person that will help autistic adults, because that's what I'm really all about. I want to make a difference in the world. That's been a passion of mine since I was a kid. I love helping people. I shared this story a long time ago, and I'm going to share it again. This passion began when I was little. I went to church with my parents, and I was a handful at church. Okay, it was a different routine on Sundays than the rest of the week, and I like routines. And I was a handful. And my Sunday school teacher needed a break from me, so one of the other adults would take me out of Sunday school, and we walk around the church, and she would let me collect all the attendance cards from the room. And I got to help her. And I fell in love that moment with helping people. And I had a bus driver, and she had a radio on the bus. She brought a AM radio, and we would listen to the radio on the way there to school and the way back. And I fell in love with morning radio, and I wanted to do that. And I wanted to make people's days better. I want to help people by making their days better, the start of the days better. So my original passion was radio. And all my life, I've been happiest when I find a way to help people. And this is my ultimate gift to our society. This I want to be my legacy, that I'm making a difference in the adult autism community. Not just for now, but as I mentioned multiple times tonight, in other videos, I have a great nephew. He's 6 years old, who's on the spectrum. I want to leave a world that's going to be better for him as an autistic adult than it was for me. And that's really one of my passions and all. Anyway, I got a little bit on a soapbox there, but let me go check the chat that's been coming in. And got a little purple heart. Oh, I like, I love those candy hearts. You can't get them at this time of the year. I love those at Valentine's Day. I usually buy a bag of those. Now, mind you, I'm diabetic, okay? And I can eat the whole bag in a day. And people say, that's horrible. But first of all, my doctor knows how I eat. And she's perplexed at how good my lab numbers are. I know that probably a day is going to catch up to me, but she's perplexed. But I keep telling her I eat poorly, so I can help you pay off your student loan debts. So I'm doing my part to help her, because I'm a helper bee. Excuse me. Oh, I like this. I'm aware that I don't ask many questions, but it's because you answer any possible questions in the video. You are very thorough. Well, thank you. And that comes from the way that I like to do videos, and especially when I do interviews with people. When I'm hosting a video and when I'm interviewing someone, I feel like I am responsible to be the voice of the person watching that video, or the audience is watching the video, and my job is to answer all the questions. So in my mind, questions are coming up that I think you might want to know, so I answer them, which kind of kills the interaction here in this live stream, because y'all don't have questions because I answered them already. So it's kind of counterproductive here, but that's how I do my videos. I want to create a video that when you leave, you have very few, if any, questions. I used to sell on eBay, and I used to teach people how to sell on eBay. And I told people, when you write a description to sell something on eBay, write it in such a way, in two ways, okay? One, because you physically have the product, write it in a way that a blind person could understand what that product is. You know, don't hold that up. Okay. Uh, describe this plastic bottle, what it feels like, how many ridges in it, what the label feels like, what's written on the label. That if you were describing this to somebody who is blind or somebody listening to you on radio, they could visualize it. And the other thing is, you want to write a description when you're selling on eBay or anywhere where they don't have any questions, because they have questions they might ask you, but they want to make a purchase right then and there. So you want to answer all those questions so they don't click away and buy it from somebody else who answered all their questions in the description. So that's where I come from my radio background. And that's why these are probably very thorough videos, because that's my mindset when I'm doing these videos, when I'm interviewing someone. So yes, that's why. And yeah, I'll admit it's probably killing the interaction I have in the channel. I love interacting with y'all, but because I'm answering all your questions, you don't have any to ask me. So I'm sorry, I'm letting you down. This is supposed to be an interactive Q&A, and I'm doing all the A, and I'm not letting you do any of the Q because I'm answering your questions beforehand. So either I'm really good at that or I'm psychic. And I can read you my, no, I don't want to make fun of it. It's like, I don't want to be this, but I'm a mind reader. Okay. So one of the two. And also, thank you so much for your comments. We're going to wrap this up in a few minutes because it is 7:46 here at Central Time Zone. And spring training is on. And there's a ball game that starts at the top of the hour, so I want to get out of here and do that. Not that I don't like spending time with you guys, but it's been a rough week. It's been a hard month for me. So I'm going to relax tonight by watching a ball game. What do you do to relax when you feel overwhelmed and you feel maybe burnout's coming? What techniques do you use? Share those in the comments so you feel comfortable. While we're waiting for that, because I know we're in a delay, I'm going to check the chat because something else has come in. I feel like the more information I have, the less anxious I am. So I appreciate your approach. I appreciate that comment. I know that as when I was going through, and I'm gonna explain something here in a moment. I know that when I was going through my period of suspecting I was autistic, I read everything I can get my hands onto. I watched every video because the more that I knew and the more that I understood helped me accept who I was and reduce my anxiety, because anxiety is a common problem for those of us on the spectrum. And that did help me. Now, I have another comment that came in, and then I want to comment something. You play video games to relax. Awesome. When I had, and we don't talk about this too much, I had an incomplete spinal cord injury in 23 years ago, this coming summer. And during that time of recovery, or after that injury, I was unable to walk. Okay, I was unable to do pretty much anything. So I had a PlayStation, and I got a Major League Baseball game. I love baseball. I don't know if I mentioned that tonight or not, but I do. Anyway, so I played that all the time, and that helped me distract myself from the pain, and it also helped me relax. Now, I don't play that many video games now, and nothing against playing video games, but there's going to be a little issue here. I'm going to vent. The PlayStation games today do not let you have a season, and I love playing it like it was a regular season. I love that each day on April 12th, I played the Cardinal game. I'm from St. Louis. The Cardinal game that was scheduled that day on the PlayStation. I played it just like they would actually play the game. They taken that feature out last time I checked, so I don't do that anymore. But yeah, video games is a great way to relax and help prevent burnout and self-regulate. For me, now, what helps me relax and self-regulate is some relaxation music. I have a playlist, and I'm gonna kill myself. Well, not to kill myself, but I'm gonna regret doing this because there's a lot of hoops I have to go through. But there's a playlist I found on Spotify that, and I say I'm gonna regret doing and saying this. Not because it's a bad thing, but finding this playlist and then getting a link to share with you takes a few steps. And I'm hoping it will let me do this here. Okay, here we go. And I hope I have the audio off on the computer where it does not share the audio. I don't think it's on, which is good because of the fact there could be legal ramifications for me for that. Let me see if I can find this. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. And then I do add to queue, report, add a folder, share, copy, link to playlist. There we go. I'm going to put this playlist in there. This is music specifically made for autistic people to help with sensory overload or any other problems. The thing on Spotify, I don't get paid for Spotify affiliate program. I have not applied to it. I probably will in the future because affiliate links do help support the channel. There's other ways too to support the channel, which we could talk about another time. But that's how I relax. I listen to calming relaxation music, and I have this thing I play on my AI from Amazon. I don't want to say her name. I got one right in front of me, and that plays city sounds. Now, some people like the sound of an ocean. Some find relaxing thunderstorms, rain, whatever, crickets, whatever works. White noise, brown noise, green noise, blue noise, whatever color noise you like, that's fine. I like city sounds. I'm a city person at heart. And hearing the repetitive sound of traffic and a nice soft flow of it helps me relax and helps me go to sleep. So let me check the other comments that came in. I feel like the more, okay, I read that one. I play video games. I play Red Dead Redemption and listen to your videos. Okay, cool. Everyone has their interest. There's no judgment here. That I never heard of that game. So, but you enjoy it. Hey, more power to you. Whatever works, because each one of us experiences autism differently. I don't know if I said that before. Okay, I have. That was sarcasm. I point out sarcasm because I don't get sarcasm. Now, I get sarcasm if there's in a movie, TV show, morning radio, or if I'm doing it because I'm excellent at being sarcastic. I'm not good at all at catching sarcasm in real life. So this is our last call for any questions you have before we wrap it up tonight. We'll be back next Thursday night again at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time for another the Confident Autistic live stream. I had a brain fart for a moment. Could not even remember my own show's name. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I don't call it a senior moment. I call it a brain fart. But that's my choice of words. Oh, the other thing I wanted to explain is this. Okay. When you see me check the I like being transparent with you. When you see me check the chats what's been posted here, you'll see me hold my cell phone and I hold it kind of close to my eyes and I'm visually impaired. I'm legally blind, 22 in my left, 23 in my right. So I got to have things a little bit closer for me to see. But I did want to share that with you. Anyway, thank you for tuning in tonight. And good night to M. Vance. I'm just going to call you M. Vance, okay? If you prefer something else, let me know. And thanks for everyone tuning in tonight. Do check out all my videos on my channel. We'll be posting another one on Monday and Thursday. So go and check those out. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your pets. Wake the neighbors and get the pets up. Tell them about the channel so we can grow the channel to help as many adult autistics as we can. Thanks again for all your support. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for taking time away from whatever you're doing to be here tonight. I appreciate it. I know we all have very busy lives. Don't forget to apply for the One Autistic Story and be a guest on that special series that I'm doing. And until next week, I am the Confident Autistic, and I'm here to help you live confidently autistic. See you next time.